Services Committee as the president exits the East Room. Before we talk about all the news of the day, Congressman, you know, in that position in the Congress, perhaps you want to say something briefly about the three honorees there at the White House.
Yeah, it's just another great testimony to the incredible men and women who serve in our military. Their bravery, their courage, their willingness to, stand up, put their lives on the line, fight for our country. It is truly inspirational, I think, for all Americans to see that. I think it's very appropriate that they were honored in this way.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have that interview next hour with Major Dockery. I did notice, we talk about all that's going on with the war, the deal with Iran, that the president, even at an event like this, you can tell sort of what's on his mind. The first thing he said was that the stock market's at a record high and oil's dropping like a rock, right? Does that speak to the motivations of the day and the news and what happened over the last few days with Iran?
Well, of course, we could have had all of that without 3 months worth of a war that didn't accomplish anything. I mean, it's cliche at this point to say arsonist sets the house on fire and then puts it out and wants credit for it. But yeah, the reason the stock market's up and oil prices are down is the 3 month war appears to be coming to an end. But it's pretty clear that it cost us a lot and gave us pretty close to nothing. Iran is stronger, we are weaker. So this war was a colossal mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that it's coming to an end. I'm a little surprised that this agreement gave so much to Iran. Given the weakened position the president put us in, we were pretty much forced to have to give them some sanctions relief in exchange for opening up the strait, which, of course, remember, the strait was open before this whole thing began. But to give all sanctions relief plus a $300 billion pledge, that seems like a higher price to pay than, even given our weakened position, we should have had to pay.
No, the case the vice president made earlier today was in the briefing room is that they don't see any of that money unless they lived up to their end of the bargain.
Yeah, we'll see. If their end of the bargain is keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, then again, what have we accomplished? This war was started on the premise that it would completely eliminate their nuclear program, and also the vague promise that the Iranian regime would be gone and the hardliners would be done. And that hasn't happened. And nothing has been done about Iran's support for terrorism or their ballistic missile program going forward. So, yeah, we'll see what ultimately gets paid to Iran. But the bottom line is, at this point, Iran is getting something in exchange for opening up the strait, which was open before the war began. So someone can tell me what is it that America exactly accomplished here that we couldn't have had without going to war?
You expect the Congress to have a say in anything that's been signed or might be signed in this 60-day period?
I don't think so. It's not like a formal treaty. I don't think there's a congressional obligation, but certainly a congressional need to approve this. But we should exercise oversight, and we should certainly ask questions about what the deal actually turns out to be. Because you're right, part of the challenge is that we don't know for sure. This is a memorandum of understanding. It's not a deal. We don't know exactly what is going to be paid, how the strait is going to be opened, or certainly even what's going to be negotiated around Iran's nuclear program. And those of us in leadership positions in particular need to pay close attention to those details as they play out over the course of the next 2 months.
So because of that, isn't it plausible then, Congressman, that the president could extract a better deal and something that is at least better than what President Obama had over the 60-day period? You don't hold out any hope for that?
Well, it's possible. I fail to see how it's going to come to pass. I mean, what leverage do we have over Iran at this point that would force them to negotiate that better deal?
I guess holding back the sanctions and all that kind of stuff, which we just talked about.
Well, sure, but the memorandum of understanding here says that we're going to peel back those sanctions in exchange for opening the strait, and that the nuclear weapons program will be negotiated in the future. Now, yeah, it's possible that the memorandum of understanding gets completely blown up and doesn't happen. Now, whether or not that leads to the better deal that you envisioned, it's hard to plausibly argue that it would. So I don't see that as likely, but I guess you can put it under the heading of anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Aaron David Miller, who's negotiated for years and worked at the State Department just at the beginning of the show today, and his fear was that this would look like Gaza, where you start talking about phases, but you never get to the next phase. Would you share that this could be a one and done here, or do you expect something to actually get done in 60 or however many days?
Yeah, no, I think that's a very legitimate fear that the phases won't come. And in this case, I mean, in Gaza, there were very specific things that were supposed to happen in those phases. Now, they have
Right.
not happened. Here, it is a lot more vague. It just says that they're going to negotiate something on the nuclear weapons. It doesn't say that they're going to get rid of their enriched uranium or they're going to stop enriching altogether. It is much more vague. But yes, there's a huge risk that follow-on will not happen.
Is there anything to the idea, because of where we are, you have to deal with the moment you're in, that this was kind of the least bad option, though, on the table for this president?
Yeah, no, well, again, I think yes. I think broadly it was the least bad option. Yeah, and look, I understand the frustration with Iran and where they're at. But
Right.
what we had learned through military briefings going back for 15 years was there just wasn't an easy military solution. Everybody knew that, and Trump decided to stumble into it anyway. We can bomb Iran a lot, but to get the strategic change that we want, not to just sort of weaken them superficially, but to get them to truly give up their nuclear program, or to stop the repression of their own people, or to stop supporting terrorist groups, or stop building ballistic missiles, military options weren't going to force that outcome. And Trump kept saying it would.
Right.
It didn't. So, yeah, we stumbled into something we should have known was not going to be successful.
By the way, real quick before you go, I know we talked about maybe not having a say in what's signed, but you guys will at least get briefed at some point, right? Or have you have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, we have requested a briefing,
Okay.
House Armed Services Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, to really get into the details of what is in the mind of the Trump administration who negotiated this. We've all read the 14 points at this point. Yeah, I think you've done a good job of pointing out, it's not 100% concrete. Who knows where it's going to go? What is the real plan here from the Department of Defense and from the White House? Yes, we should be briefed. There should be greater transparency. And going forward, how are we going to detain Iran? Sorry, deter Iran.
Right.
And because that was always the challenge here. Trump thought we could bomb them into submission. That didn't work. So now what's the plan to try to contain the threat that Iran clearly poses to the region, to us, to Israel? How are we going to manage that threat since Trump, A, failed to make it go away, and B, to a large degree, has empowered Iran now that they see the Strait of Hormuz as a strategic choke point that they could use as leverage.
Congressman, thanks for tonight. We appreciate the time. Adam Smith, he's the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee. Chris